Are you considered adopting? If so, I know you thought about the things that you want, but have you considered the things that the birth mother wants? If so, stay tuned, and I'm going to share with you the conversation that I had with the birth mother of my son and her expectations regarding me adopting her baby. Hi, my name is Yolanda, and in this video, I'm going to share with you the conversations and the questions that I had with the birth mother of my son. In a previous video, I mentioned that the adoption that I'm currently involved in is a private adoption and that I hired 2 attorneys to help me with the adoption. Well, in the initial consultation that I had with the attorney that I eventually retained here in Florida, I was asked the question, what are the birth mother expectations? And I was like, I don't know. And she said you should have that conversation, find out how, the birth mother want things to go, and we'll go from there. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. So I went online, did a little bit of research, and came up with a couple of questions on my own as to questions to ask the birth mother and things like that. And I reached out to her and said, hey, whenever you get a few minutes, I want to have a conversation with you about some things before we go further. And mind you, I asked her these questions before I retain any attorney. And here are some of the questions that I asked. One of the questions that I asked was, is there any thought in your mind? I mean, the smallest little glimpse of thought in your mind that you want to raise your child yourself? Is there any thought? Okay, that was my very, very first question. And I asked that question because I needed to make sure before we moved on that there were not going to be any kind of hesitations moving forward about this or about that. So I wanted to make sure. Another question I asked was, do you want the baby to know who you are? Okay, and then I asked questions like, if you do want the baby to know who you are, what age do you think, we should tell them or I should tell them? And, do you want the baby to know about the biological father? Do you want other people to know who you are to the baby? Do you want other people to know you're his biological mother? And then I asked questions about, her wanting updates, like how often do you want updates on the baby? Do you want major milestones? Do you want something once a month? Like what are your expectations? Granted, I can't do once a month because I have a life to live and I'm gonna have a baby to take care of. So that literally would have been impossible for once a month if I would have agreed to that, which I didn't, and that's not something that she even wanted. Okay. And then I asked her about her birth plans. So I wanted to know, are you planning on a natural birth? Are you planning on an epidural? And I asked a question some people may not have asked about. I asked about breastfeeding. And I know that sounds kind of strange, or maybe strange to some people. But I was kind of thinking about, the baby's needs over mine, and thinking, okay, if it's even possible for her to even ship, breast milk to us. It was just a thought. It was just a question to toss out there because I wanted to make sure that I got a little bit of everything. So those are like the main questions that I asked. And then as conversations and time went on, she came back with questions for me. So it wasn't just me asking questions. This was literally conversations going back and forth at times. So one of the questions she asked me was about my relationship with my boyfriend. She wanted to know how long we had been together and what were our future plans together. So it was literally like if you were doing a profile for an adoption agency, these are the kind of things that you would have written out in the first place. You would have written out about, you know, your spouse, how long you've been married, and things like that. You would have talked about those things. So this was kind of no different between us. She wanted to know more about my job. She wanted to know that I like my job, you know, things like that. And, you know, my future plans as far as job goes. She wanted to know those things. And then again, as conversations and time went on, we got into some more heavier topics. So then she came back to me at one point and she asked me if I wanted to be in the delivery room and cut the cord. And I was like, oh, like I really wasn't expecting that, but I was like, oh, that would be great if I was. That would be amazing, because I'd never seen a baby being born before. And I'd never seen it, and I was like really kind of overwhelmed with emotions that she even asked the question. So I was like, yes, I want to be in there. You know, granted, you know, we are following COVID guidelines of the hospital that, you know, she was going to be delivering in. You know, sure, why not? Do I want to cut the cord? Yes, I would snip that cord right on off. Yes. So we talked about that, and then she asked me a really significant question. She asked me, did I want to do skin to skin immediately after the baby is born. And I didn't know what skin to skin was initially, so I did some research and got back to her. Like, that would be so nice for us to start that bonding process immediately after he's born. I'm like, yes, if we can do it, let's do it. And she also discussed these things with her physician, because I was kept up to date on doctor's appointments, how the baby was developing. Like, I was kept up to date on everything, which made it really, really great. And as time went on, I also kept her up to date about how things were going with me and the attorneys and the home study. So we both, again, had these conversations going back and forth on a regular basis. I talked to her on a regular basis. So it was actually really good that we had those conversations and we asked each other those questions, because it made for such a smooth process for us. I have more documentation or videos to share with you regarding my adoption journey. However, I did mention the home study in this video, so if you're interested in the home study, please see the link below. I did create a video about the home study. I hope this video has been helpful, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.